Hey there, sports fans. Are you ready for some Marquette athletics?
Well, you're in for a treat. We've got everything you need to know about your favorite Golden Eagles sports. Welcome to the Golden Eagles Sports Report. I'm Hayley Keith.
And I'm Mike Cianciolo. The Marquette men's basketball program has been on a tear lately, winning 8 of their last 9 contests. On Super Bowl Sunday, MU took on rival Louisville at the KFC Yum Center. It was a whiteout in Louisville, Kentucky, as you see Cardinals head coach Rick Pitino sporting a white suit. Right out of the gates, Trent Lockett comes up with a steal and goes coast to coast for the and-one dunk as he gets fouled by Gorgui Dieng. MU opens the game up 3-0. On the other end of the court, Peyton Siva finds Montrezl Harrell for the nasty two-hand stuff. That play got Louisville going after starting the game down to Marquette 9-1. Russ Smith misses the 3-ball, then follows his shot and converts at the rim as the Cardinals handled the Golden Eagles on the board Sunday 38-26. Stephen Van Treese finds Shane Bohannon down low for the easy bucket as Louisville takes a 27-20 lead with under 6 minutes left in the first half. Now it's Gorgui Dieng with the pump fake and the soft runner as the Cards head into halftime with a 14-point lead. Vanderblue's pass gets intercepted by Harrell and he skies above the rim for the hard throwdown. Louisville up 55-36 and running away with this one at the 10-minute mark. Russ Smith with a little razzle-dazzle as he finishes at the rack. Number 12 Louisville controlled the last 28 minutes of the game and coasted to a 70-51 victory over number 25 Marquette. Let's hear now from our own Mark Freund, who was at the game.
Marquette has certainly had its share of struggles against Louisville in recent years, and unfortunately for the Golden Eagles, that trend continued Sunday against the Cardinals. The Golden Eagles were dominated in the paint and on the glass, and they didn't help themselves with poor shot selection, falling to the Cardinals in Louisville 70-51.
They rebounded 11 of their 16 missed shots in the first half, and they forced 12 turnovers in the second half. So that's their recipe for winning, and I thought they were really, really good in both halves.
You heard Coach Buzz Williams mention rebounding. In addition to shooting under 36% for the game, the Golden Eagles were out-rebounded 38-26, a number that Williams knows contributed to the Cardinals' success.
Entering today, we were first in our league. I think they were second, and they absolutely smacked us. So they beat us by 12, but like I said, I think they were 16 of 32 in the first half, and they had 11 offensive rebounds. So that's partly why they shot 50%.
Guard Vanderblue led the way with 17 points for Marquette, and Trent Lockett had 16. But Williams and Blue both acknowledged that the Golden Eagles need 2 things to win: consistency and a full team effort.
Devontae wasn't good. Jamil wasn't good. I think Trent continues to play well. I thought Vander was just okay. Junior wasn't any good. So it's hard collectively. We're not a 1 or 2 or 3 guy team. It's collectively we have to be the best all of us can be at one time. And we had too many holes today.
It's really hard to win anywhere, at home, neutral floor. It doesn't really matter if everybody's not going well. It's hard for us to win. We're a team that relies on everybody doing their part, and if we all don't do that, we're usually not that successful.
The Golden Eagles certainly have plenty of problems to fix before they head off to Tampa to take on USF on Wednesday. Reporting from the KFC Yum Center in Louisville, Kentucky, Mark Freund, MUTV Sports.
USF is 10-11, 1-8 in the Big East. Victor Rudd and Torlin Fitzpatrick averaging about 18 or 10.6 points a game. MU beat USF 63-50 on January 28th at home. Now let's hear from Vanderblue, who weighed in on the South Florida game after the loss to Louisville.
South Florida, they're a great team. They're very experienced, so you never know what you're going to get out of them. We definitely can't go over there and try to think we got it won already just because we're tied for first in the league. Now we have to make sure that this might be the biggest game we played all year going there, and we have to go in there with that mindset and make sure we take care of business, because the stretch we have right now with South Florida And then DePaul, these are two big games that we have to win. They're must-wins, just so we can try to separate ourselves a little bit.
We'll send it over now to Sean Owens and our analysis crew to assess the men's basketball squad.
Thanks, Mike. All right, guys, first things first. Marquette basketball had a less than stellar showing in Louisville this past Sunday, mainly due to losing the battle on the glass. Now they travel on the road to face USF this Wednesday. What adjustments do they need to make to get a win on the road here?
Well, we can start with the fact that the Cardinals out-rebounded the Golden Eagles 26-13, so it's essential that we work on our rebounds first off.
I think for Marquette, it's going to be balanced scoring. We saw Vanderblue and Trent Lockett combine for 33 points against Louisville. They need to get back to guys like Devontae Gardner, Junior Cadogan, Jameel Wilson, actually contributing on the offensive end. Gardner was in foul trouble against Louisville, so he couldn't really make the impact that he usually does. But on the road, you need it to be a team effort scoring. You can't just have one or two guys scoring the majority of it. So I would say for Marquette, the key is going to be getting everyone involved on offense, staying out of foul trouble, and really playing how they want to on that end of the court.
You mentioned Vanderblue kind of being the leading scorer for the team. He's been the leading scorer in 10 out of Marquette's 20 games this year. You want them to kind of diversify their offense and get more people scoring, but how do you keep Vanderblue also as an offensive threat for the Golden Eagles?
Well, I think you have to keep him shooting. I mean, you saw against Louisville confidence that he never has shown before on the court. He was pulling up from the top of the key, hitting jumpers, and it's confidence. That's the big thing. Last season when we saw Blue play well, it was confidence doing everything else on the court. It was him cutting to the basket, playing good defense, making big plays on that end. This season he's shooting. So give him freedom, let him shoot, but at the same time, you know, if they're going to win, he's not going to score 30 points every night like he did against USF at the Bradley Center.
Okay, now last question here about Marquette basketball. Marquette lost to Louisville pretty significantly, 19 points, but they jumped up in the rankings from 25 to 24 in the AP. What's going through the AP's mind? What do they see in Marquette basketball that allows them to jump up one ranking?
Well, I mean, you know, I think people are finally taking notice that they're tied for the Big East lead. I think a lot of people just thought, okay, they have a nice 6-1 record heading into that Louisville game, but people didn't really realize that, you know, they're tied for the lead in the Big East, and that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, they're doing well. They're still above Notre Dame, so I think we can still expect good things.
All right, that's what we're going to do here from the analyst desk. I'll send it over back to Mike and Hayley.
And how did women's basketball do this past week? Find out after the break. The MU women's volleyball team has added 2 defensive specialists to the recruiting class of 2013. Nikki Barnes from Illinois and Lauren Hogue from Minnesota. Barnes was a strong player from Bennett Academy, while Hogue finished her high school career as a first-team All-State player.
Players weren't the only people the volleyball team was looking for. Marquette added 2 new assistant coaches this week, former AVCA All-American Jackie Simpson and former Iowa assistant coach and recruiting coordinator Jason Allen. Head coach Bon Szymanski now has a full coaching staff.
This past Wednesday night, the Marquette women's basketball team returned to the Al McGuire Center to face the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Marquette head coach Terry Mitchell and Rutgers head coach C. Vivian Stringer were ready to do battle. First half, Golden Eagles down 4 when Serena Simmons hits the mid-range jumper for Marquette. 30 seconds later, Arlisa Morse hits the 3 for the Golden Eagles to tie the game at 17. 6 minutes left in the half when Christina Gaeta drives the lane and gets a nifty reverse layup to go. Bugaisha had 7 points for the Golden Eagles. In the second half, Rutgers begins to pull away. Monique Oliver finds Benita Laney for 2. 4 minutes later, it's Laney again driving to the hoop to put Rutgers up by 9. Laney had 12 points in the second half. Marquette finally catches a break with 3 minutes to go as Catherine Plouffe gets the steal and layup, but the Golden Eagles fail to get back on defense, which results in a layup for the Scarlet Knights. It was that kind of night for Marquette. They fall to Rutgers 72-54. Now let's hear from Coach Terry Mitchell.
The psychology of the game, the wanting to win, the passion, and then just watching our players get tight is just something for me that's just so hard to watch, because if any one of you were in our practice yesterday, we're in our shoot-around today, hands down you would be extremely excited like I was in coaching this team to come out. And I saw all of that in the first half. And then in the second half it just went downhill. And that's when we learn the consistency of this game, and to not let those moments become big moments, we're going to win.
The Marquette women's basketball team suffered another blow to their roster as 6-foot forward Courtney Thomas went down with an injury just before halftime against Rutgers. Thomas adds to her history of injuries as she sat out all of last year. There's no word yet on the seriousness of this injury. Thomas's availability is still up in the air, and we were able to get Coach Terry Mitchell's thoughts on the injury of the Glenview, Illinois native.
Nothing's been confirmed. She's on crutches, so obviously not able to put any weight on it, and just something we'll go day to day and see what it is, and hope it's not severe, and if it's not, find her way back, and if it is, then get her the best rehab. We have obviously our training staff has been way overused this year, and we'll just keep finding ways.
The Lady Golden Eagles hosted DePaul Saturday afternoon, coming off their loss to Rutgers. Opening up play, Arlesia Morse passes the rock to Catherine Plouffe, who finds Chelsea Butler down low for the lay-in. She finished the contest with 6 points. Marquette on offense again, and the ball gets tipped, but Morse gets control and drives baseline for the inside bucket. That was just 2 of her team-high 24 points in this game. Second half now, and MU works the ball inside to Lauren Tibbs, who connects on the shot for the deuce. Again, it's Tibbs working from the top of the key, and she picks up another bucket, ending the game with those 4 points. Serena Simmons, she'll have possession of the orange now, and she dishes it to Plouffe, who kicks it out to the wide-open Arlesia Morse, who dials one up from downtown. Marquette was 6 of 11 behind the arc against the Blue Demons. The Lady Golden Eagles on defense, and DePaul tosses up an NBA range triple and connects. DePaul hanging in on the road. MU with the lead and hoping to get a stop. DePaul fires and misses a 3-ball, which would prompt a foul. Marquette survives the scare and wins it at home 70-66 against their Big East Conference competitor.
The latest installment of the Marquette-DePaul rivalry took place on Saturday at the Al McGuire Center. As always, it was a hard-fought battle, but in the end, Marquette pulled out the win with a final score of 70-66.
It's classic Marquette-DePaul. That's all I can say. It's always going to be a battle. It's going to be emotional. It's going to be close most times. When you look back in the history, there isn't many games where there's ever a blowout. That game was a great college basketball game. It's a great Big East basketball game. And I was just proud of our players finishing a game, playing from beginning to end with the kind of effort that they gave.
Arlesia Moores led the way for the Golden Eagles, scoring 24 points, 1 less than her career high. It was her determination that was a key factor towards the victory on Saturday.
It's a rivalry game, and I just know that feeling of when you play a team that's your rival, like nothing's gonna stop you from losing, and like that's how I felt tonight. Like we weren't gonna lose in any way possible. I was gonna prevent that loss.
The team has had their fair share of struggles this season, but after the victory on Saturday, Moores can see improvement amongst everyone.
This game, we wanted it, and I can tell in everybody's eyes that we weren't going to lose this game. Like, we was going to give it all we got, as opposed to last game. It was like we were playing not to lose, or we don't want to lose in a awful way. But tonight, I just felt like everybody was engaged, focused, and we had that mindset that we weren't going to lose.
Reporting from the Al McGuire Center, Reese Heinzinger, MUTV Sports.
Thanks, Reese. Now for more on women's basketball, let's send it over to Sean Owens.
Thanks, Haley. All right, Marquette women's basketball got crushed against Rutgers, mainly in the second half, and then came back and beat DePaul. But injuries are piling up for the Golden Eagles. As you see, Courtney Thomas went down, and Gabby Minix is out with a torn ACL for the rest of the year. How do you guys see Marquette women's basketball getting past these and continuing their recent success after DePaul?
Well, the team's definitely improving. It had a solid win against DePaul. Coach Mitchell definitely mentioned that the mentality was different as opposed to playing to not lose. They definitely played to win in this game against DePaul.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that kind of goes along with my main point is experience. They're just going to have to keep playing. I mean, players like Brooklyn Pomeroy, who's coming along, she's playing in place of Gabby Minix. Arlesia Morse is still a sophomore. They really just need to keep playing, keep getting experience under their belt because, in the Big East, in any sport, especially women's basketball, it's not going to be easy to get any wins. So I think to get over these injuries, these young players are just going to have to keep stepping up. Okay, the next 3 games are on the road for the Golden Eagles. They're at UConn for one of them,
How do the Golden Eagles get 2 wins, assuming that UConn's just going to flat out outmatch them under Gino Auriemma?
I'm not going to assume that. I'm going to go with that and say they're going to. That's no offense to the women Golden Eagles, but I think it's limiting turnovers. That's been the one thing that's killed them over the past couple of years. They regularly turn the ball over 20 times in a game, which is just kind of ridiculous. They're getting better at that. A couple times it's been under 15 even, so I think if they do that on the road, they might be able to win 2 or 3.
Definitely. Another issue has definitely been getting tight under the basket. Coach Mitchell also mentioned that in a post-game conference. But in the DePaul game, they definitely loosened up a little bit, and as long as they stick to that, they should be doing well.
All right, and that's going to do it here for the Analyst Desk. Let's send it back over to our anchors, Mike and Hayley.
Marquette women's tennis had a pair of matches at the Hellfair Tennis Stadium over the weekend. Stick around for the results after the break.
On January 25th, the Golden Eagles men's soccer team announced its spring schedule. Marquette will be in action at Valley Field 7 times this spring. MU will host UW Parkside, Loyola Chicago, and DePaul at Valley, and will host the Spring Wisconsin D1 Challenge featuring Wisconsin, Green Bay, and Milwaukee.
The men's and women's track and field teams competed at the Mayo Invitational in Notre Dame, Indiana over the weekend at the Loftus Sports Center. Gretchen Homan ran a 56.55 second 400-meter dash, the second fastest 400 run all-time at Marquette.
The Marquette tennis team had the week off after posting home wins over IUPUI and UIC at the end of January. The Golden Eagles returned to the Hellfair Tennis Stadium this weekend to face South Dakota State, Western Illinois, and Bradley. We will have those highlights on next week's Golden Eagles Sports Report.
The women's tennis had the spotlight this weekend, taking on the UIC squad and the Milwaukee squad on their home court. The Marquette women's tennis squad was set to take on the UIC tennis team Friday afternoon at the Hellfair Tennis Stadium. The doubles team of sophomore Allie Dawson and junior Rocio Diaz were working their rackets on the court Friday. They go up 3-2 in this set and then catch a breather. And here they improved to 6-3 on the set. They were really working on that court. And then they would eventually win the set 8-3 as Marquette sweeps doubles and takes the overall match 6-1. Taking on Milwaukee, we've got a great shot there of head coach Jody Bronson, who was impressed with her team's play against UIC. Hot off their win against UIC, the women's tennis duo of Dawson and Diaz took to the court against city rival Milwaukee Sunday morning. The sophomore-junior combo were gunning for another victory, but fell to the UWM duo of Maddie Soul and Christina Calarasi 8-5. However, Marquette won doubles, securing a match point, and their 6 individuals competitors, Pimienta, Diaz, Dawson, Gibbs, Canner, and Hernandez-Soler, ran the table, sweeping their individual matches. Marquette had a clean sheet, taking the overall match 8-0 over the Panthers and improving to 3-2 on the season.
The women's team, Pimienta defeated Lender in a 0-1 match. Diaz defeated Tim in a 1-4 match. Laia Hernandez-Soler defeated Manos in a 0-1 match. And Vanessa Foltinger defeated Iwin in a 0-0 match, which is really rare. Ina Hernandez-Soler also defeated O'Brien in a 1-0 match. So I say the girls did a really good job against Green Bay on Sunday. Also, Canner defeated Anderson in a 7-point tiebreaker. The MU men's lacrosse team traveled to Michigan this weekend to play in their first 2 exhibition games of the 2013 season.
The team played Michigan, a team only in its 2nd season as a D1 team, and defeated Denison in 3 quarters.
Kyle Whitlow had 3 goals, which was half of the team's offense. Tyler Melnick had 2 goals, and Brett Hornug also had the last goal for Marquette. Unfortunately, Marquette was not able to defeat this Michigan team, losing 6-14. Connor Gately and Phil McFarland each had an assist, but it could not match up to the other team's 3 goals netted by Stetland. Jackson had 2 goals along with Stardali. And the men will be at Hofstra next weekend.
And now we'll send it over to Sean Owens and our analysis crew.
All right, guys, we touched on volleyball earlier in this show. They have completed 2 new signings of high schoolers from Bennett Academy and then from Minnesota. What do you look for these 2 defensive specialists to do and kind of find their way into Marquette's volleyball team, with Julie Jezerowski already kind of establishing her role as the starting defensive specialist?
Well, she was an excellent libero, and so I definitely think she has a lot to teach these players. She's really going to be crucial towards integrating these new players into the team.
Yeah, with that being said, they're probably not going to be doing too much playing right away. Julie Jezerowski is the all-time record for most digs in a single season and has been doing the job of a libero pretty well over the past couple seasons. So I think they'll be learning a lot on the bench watching her play.
All right, and now we're going to switch our focus to men's soccer, who have 2 new signees for the spring 2013 season. How do you look for Marquette, or what do you look for Marquette soccer to take their season in as they kind of find their way for spring 2013?
Well, I think the big thing is they get 2 transfers, Brady Wall from Ohio State, David Selvaggi from DePaul, and then also Louis Bennett II has come in, top 100 recruit nationally. 2 of them will add competition in the midfield. I think that's the biggest thing. They return 3 guys that were pretty prominent there. So I think it probably adds more competition, wouldn't you think?
Definitely. We're looking forward to a good season.
All right, back to Mike and Hayley.
On a final note, this Saturday's Marquette-DePaul matchup at the Bradley Center is Al's Day, a tribute to legendary MU coach Al McGuire, who led the Golden Eagles to the 1977 National Championship.
That will conclude tonight's show. For our analysts Sean Owens, Reese Heinzinger, and Matt Trebby, as well as my co-host Hayley Keith, I'm Mike Cianciolo. Good night, Marquette.